The Fortress Within, a Stoic's Guide to Facing the Storm, by Stoiccat. The day I realized I'd been letting toxic people drain me dry wasn't dramatic. No lightning bolts, no grand epiphanies. It was a sticky August afternoon in a city that smelled of asphalt and desperation. 35 years old, slumped over a chipped desk in my one-room apartment. The air conditioner rattled like it was coughing up its last breath, and my phone buzzed with another message from Vince, a coworker who'd spent the last year turning every shift into a battlefield of sarcasm and guilt trips. "You're bailing on drinks again?" Figures. It read, dripping with the kind of venom he'd perfected. I stared at it, chest tight, feeling the familiar churn of frustration and powerlessness. I've been here before, too many times, caught in the undertow of people who thrived on negativity. I'd moved to this city 3 years earlier, chasing a freelance writing gig that sounded better on paper than it paid in reality. The hustle was brutal. Late nights, rejection emails, a bank account that laughed at me, but I'd managed. Until people like Vince, or my old friend Mara with her endless complaints, or the landlord who'd sneer at every late rent check, started chipping away at me. I was tired, bone-deep tired, of feeling like their punching bag. That's when I turned to the Stoics, ancient philosophers I'd stumbled across in a used bookstore. Their words a lifeline in a sea of chaos. They believed strength wasn't about bending the world to your will, but mastering your own mind. I needed that, so I built a toolbox, 13 Stoic-inspired strategies to handle toxic people with grace, compassion, and resilience. This is how they pulled me through. 1. Identifying and understanding the toxic threat. It started with seeing them for what they were. I pictured myself as a guard at my own citadel. My peace, my sanity, a fortress I'd let crumble. Vince wasn't just a coworker. He was a narcissist, always fishing for praise, turning every conversation into a one-sided ego trip. Mara was the gossip, stirring drama like it was her oxygen, leaving me drained after every call. The landlord? An energy vampire, his every word a leech on my nerves. Epictetus hit me hard. It's not what happens to you, but how you judge it that matters. Their barbs didn't have power unless I gave it to them. I started mapping it out, warning signs I'd ignored too long. Vince's constant critique. Your last piece was okay, I guess, for you. Mara's negativity. Everything's falling apart, why bother? The landlord's manipulation. Pay late again, and I'll find someone who won't. Awareness was my first shield. I'd spot the threat before it breached the walls, judging it coolly, not letting it rattle me. That shift, seeing their game without diving in, kept my citadel standing. 2. Fortify your walls. Boundaries became my bedrock. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, ruled an empire with reason and resolve. I'd rule my life the same way. I sat down that night, notebook open, and listed what I wouldn't take. Vince's digs at my work, Mara's whining marathons, the landlord's veiled threats. Then I set the lines. To Vince I said, I feel off when you cut down my stuff. Let's keep it civil. To Mara, I can't talk now, but I'll call when I've got time. Clear, firm, fair, statements, no accusations, no room for missteps. Enforcing them was harder. Vince smirked, tried again the next day. Your edits suck as usual. I repeated, calm as stone. I feel off when you say that. He rolled his eyes, but the jab slowed. Mara pushed back, guilt tripping. You never care. I held the line. I'll call when I can. Consistency was my armor. Unstable walls fall fast, but mine held. It wasn't punishment. It was protection, a stoic act of self-respect. 3. Become uninteresting to the emotional barbarian. Vince loved to fight. An emotional barbarian, swinging negativity like a club, craving my reaction. I bite every time, snapping back, feeding his fire. Then I found the gray rock method. inspired by Seneca's call to live without anxious dependence on the future or attention. I'd be a dull, smooth rock, neutral, unyielding, nothing for him to grip. Next shift, he baited me. Your article's trash. You know that, right? I shrugged, voice flat. That's interesting. No heat, no fuel. He squinted, tried again. You're so sensitive. I nodded. Maybe. He fizzled out, bored by my blank slate. Toxic people thrive on drama. Starve them, and they wander off. It wasn't a cure, but it dulled their blade, kept my peace intact. 4. The broken record technique. Mara's manipulation was subtler. Guilt trips wrapped in sighs, chipping at my resolve. You never check on me. I'm falling apart here. I cave, call, sink into her vortex. The broken record technique, rooted in Epictetus's freedom is perseverance. Change that. I'd repeat my stance, steady as a scratched vinyl. I'll call when I can. She'd push. You don't care, do you? I'd echo. I'll call when I can. Calm, relentless, no detour into her maze. It threw her off. Her flattery, her tears, her jabs hit a wall of reason. She huffed, give up. My boundaries stood, unshaken, my energy mine again. 5. Don't take the bait. The landlord dangled bait like a pro, snide digs to hook me into a fight. Late again, huh? Typical. Old me would have snapped, argued, drowned in his game. Stoic indifference, Epictetus's detachment for what I couldn't control, was my shield. I'd see the hook, a veiled insult, a guilt trip. I let it hang, untouched. Rent's due tomorrow, he'd sneer. I nod, got it, working on it. No anger, no defense, just facts. His venom lost its bite, floating uselessly in the air. I wasn't apathetic. I cared about paying, but I didn't let his drama drag me under. My calm stayed, a quiet victory. 6. The art of the non-reaction. Vince turned words into weapons, a verbal gladiator itching for a brawl. You think you're some hotshot writer? Please. I'd fire back, fuel his chaos. Marcus taught me silence. Waste no time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. And I wielded it like a blade. Next time, your stuff's amateur, man. I said nothing, kept typing. He paused, thrown, tried harder, what too good to talk. Silence. He deflated, the rally dead without my swing. Non-reaction wasn't weakness. It was control, a refusal to dance. When he escalated, I held still, a rock in his storm, and he burned out. 7. Limit your exposure. Some battles you can't avoid. Vince at work, Mara in my phone, but I could limit the siege. Stoics control what they can, so I did. With Vince, I stuck to work talk, dodged his bar invites. Busy tonight, I'd say, no apology. Mara's calls got shorter, gotta run, talk later. Physical distance when I could, emotional when I couldn't. At work, I'd reframe Vince's rants, he's having a rough day, and focus on my desk, my words, my breath. It wasn't cowardice, it was strategy, a moat around my citadel, keeping the barbarians at bay. 8. Build your support system. I wasn't alone, I'd just forgotten. Seneca prized harmony with nature, including virtuous people. My phalanx, my shield wall, came from old friends like Jake, a bartender who listened without preaching, and Lila, a painter who saw the good in me when I couldn't. After Vince's latest tirade, I'd call Jake, he's at it again. He'd laugh, guy's a clown, let him flop. Lila'd text, you're tougher than he'll ever be. They buffered the drain, reminded me I wasn't the problem. I spent real time with them, beers with Jake, sketching with Lila, building a legion of light against the dark. Gratitude sealed it. Thanks for keeping me sane, I'd say, and they'd shrug, but it mattered. 9. Prioritize self-care. Toxic people were battles, and I was a warrior running on fumes. Coffee, cigs, no sleep. Stoics mend their wounds, sharpen their blades. I had it too. I carved out mornings, running along the river, sweat purging the stress, scribbling stories, my soul breathing again, sitting quiet, mind settling like dust. Nature helped, park benches, the rustle of leaves, a reset. I ate real food, eggs, not just toast, slept 8 hours, guarded that time like gold. Vince's next jab came, and I met it rested steady. Self-care wasn't indulgence. It was armor, keeping me sharp for the fight. 10. Remember it's not about you. Mara's whining, Vince's snark, the landlord's sneers. They weren't me. Stoic prosopopoeia, detaching, observing. Let me see it. Vince lashed out because he hated his own dead-end job. Mara drowned in her insecurities, not my failures. The landlord's greed wasn't my worth. Epictetus, we waste so much time. Their clouds cast shadows, but the sun still burned above. I'd watch Vince rant, think, his mess not mine. Mara's sob story, her storm, not my sky. Detachment wasn't cold. It was clarity, sparing me their baggage, keeping my path clear. 11. Don't try to fix them. I'd wasted months playing therapist, coaxing Mara out of her gloom, dodging Vince's barbs with pep talks. Stoicism stopped me. Focus on what you can control. Their negativity wasn't my garden to weed. They had to pull it themselves. I'd suggest a book to Mara once. Maybe check this out, then let it drop. Vince got a nod. You'll figure it out. I led by example, calm, steady, riding on, hoping they'd see. They didn't, and that was fine. My peace wasn't theirs to grant or take. I tended my own soil, let theirs choke or bloom. 12. When to walk away. The landlord crossed a line one muggy night, banging on my door, yelling about a check 2 days late. You're out of here, he spat. I'd tried boundaries, reason, distance. Nothing held. Stoics know when to retreat. Protect your sanctuary. I paid, packed, found a new place, a quiet basement, no sneers included. Walking away wasn't defeat. It was reason, a choice to live now, not bleed later. Seneca, live immediately. I left the chaos, invested in peace. New pages, new faces, and breathe free. 13. Forgive yourself. The hardest fight was inside. I'd carried hate. Vince's cruelty, Mara's drain, my own stumbles letting them in. It weighed me down, a backpack of resentment slowing every step. Marcus again, you have power over your mind, not events. Forgiveness wasn't for them. It was for me, dropping the load. I sat one night, river glinting outside, and faced it, anger at Vince, hurt for Mara, guilt for bending too long. I saw it clear, their mess, my choice to carry it. I let it go, not excusing them, but freeing me. The air felt lighter, my steps sure. A new story poured out, unburdened. The calm that held. A year later, I'm still here. New gig, new walls, same city roar. Vince faded. Mara's call stopped. The landlord's a memory. The Stoics gave me 13 tools. A guard's eye, a ruler's walls, a rock's dullness, a record's echo, a fisherman's dodge, a gladiator's silence, a moat's distance, a phalanx's strength, a warrior's care, a scientist's lens, a gardener's focus, a wanderer's step, a forgiver's release. I'm stoiccat, scarred, steady, whole, and my citadel stands a life worth fighting for.